I was talking about the seventh principle, which is a tone of decency and trust. And I was sharing about how, in the beginning, I was very shocked when I found out that in our school, everybody calls everybody by their first name. So my students call me Joanne. And when I first started, I was very uncomfortable with it, especially with my background. Coming from the Philippines, very traditional, we call our teachers by their last name, Mr. and Mrs. But after a few months and definitely after a few years, I was able to warm up to it. And basically, we do that to show that we treat each other as partners and that everybody is capable of becoming mature individuals. And therefore, we have mature conversations with each other. It's not that I am the adult, I can chastise you and tell you what to do, but I speak with my students like we're on the same level and that we share a common trust and respect towards each other, and therefore we can have valuable conversation. The eighth principle is commitment to the entire school. The principal and teachers should perceive themselves as generalists first, teachers and scholars in general education, and specialists second, meaning you're an expert in but one particular discipline. Staff should expect multiple obligations, and that is exactly what we have at Vanguard. I got hired as an English teacher, but all the teachers in our school actually wear multiple hats. Like, for example, aside from being an English teacher, I'm also a class advisor. I also am in the humanities or the social studies department, and I also co-teach a literature class. And lastly, I also handle students who have IEPs, or what we refer to as students who need special education. So there are really a lot of roles in our school. And number 9, the ninth principle is resources dedicated to teaching and learning. Ultimate administrative and budget targets should include the student loads that promote personalization, substantial time for collective planning by teachers, and let the helicopter pass first. So as I was saying, substantial time for collective planning by teachers, competitive salaries for staff, and an ultimate per pupil cost not to exceed that at traditional schools by more than 10%. To accomplish this, administrative plans may have to show the phase reduction or elimination of some services now provided students in many traditional schools. Like, for example, we actually share our building with other schools, so it's a little challenging to have our own sports team. So what we actually do is have a building team. So the volleyball team is not just made up of students from my school, Vanguard High School, but also different schools in the different schools in the building. So it's really all about priorities. And finally, the 10th principle is democracy and equity. The school should demonstrate non-discriminatory and inclusive policies, practice, and pedagogies. It should model democratic practices that involve all who are directly affected by the school. The school should honor diversity and build on the strength of its communities, deliberately and explicitly challenging all forms of inequity. Basically, what I love about my school is that it follows what my former principal, Luis Delgado, has coined as distributive leadership. So meaning all the teachers have a say in how the school is run, and not just the teachers but the students and the parents also. We have in our school what you call the teacher leadership team, where basically it's a group of teachers and a few students, and sometimes a parent attends meetings by the TLT, where the TLT is the decision-making body of the school. So the principal and the assistant principal do not dictate what should be happening in the school, but the teacher leadership team actually puts a lot of thinking into school issues and present it to the administrators. And most of the time, whatever has been decided in the teacher leadership team, those things are what are being followed. The teacher leadership team also has a principal and assistant principal in the team. So I love that it's a teacher-run school. It's not the usual, top-down kind of leadership. Everybody has a voice, and that's really valuable. So the Coalition of Essential School Principals directly affect our discussions and decisions about curriculum, instruction, and assessment at our school Vanguard. They've also helped us develop clear supports for the social, emotional, and well-being of our students. And finally, the last principle, which is democracy and equity, has helped us develop exhibitions and projects that allow students to find their voice and become powerful advocates or activists within our school and the larger community.